Hello everybody and welcome to the 2025 Four-Nations Esports Cup here on iRacing. Organised by Motorsport UK Esports since 2022, we've been pitting some of the greatest sporting nations in the world against one another in sim racing, and this year we've got a fourth nation added into the mix, alongside the UK and Australia, who've been battling it out since 2022, and New Zealand, who joined us just a year later. South Africa are now with us in 2025 to make this a Four-Nations Cup. We're very much looking forward to it. Starting off here at Bathurst, the spiritual home of Australian motorsport, of course. It is myself, Utilising, David Haynes in the commentary box for you here on RaceSpotTV this afternoon, this morning rather, if you're in the UK or South Africa, or indeed this evening over in Oceania. We're split down the middle in the commentary box, split in the drivers' camp as well, David. We thoroughly enjoyed this event last year, 2024. I know I certainly did. Looking forward to it coming back as well in 2025, coming back stronger than ever as well with the addition of South Africa in 2025.
Yeah, and I think last year I enjoyed it a little more than you did. It is back, it's bigger than ever, and it invokes something that we all love, the sporting rivalry between these nations. It's all sorts of sports that Australia, New Zealand, the UK, South Africa have so much history playing against each other in. It's cricket, it's rugby, it's everything, and this just adds it brings that energy to the Esports Cup and to iRacing.
I worked out before this broadcast, by the way, that between us in the big team sports, we won 18 World Cups in the men's game anyway. So, yeah, there's plenty of success around as well. But this is the format today. No World Cups, but a Nations Cup at the end of the day. Two 30-minute races, one at Bathurst, one at Silverstone. That's the same as last year. Qualifying will be prior to each race. In fact, the first one's just begun now. The points will be allocated for both races, and it's not who wins the races necessarily. It's who scores the most points overall throughout both races. Top 20 score points. We have nearly 40 though in the field. Going to be quite hard to even score any points. Combined country points at the end, of course, wins. One more thing as well that's been added, of course, with support this year around from Next Level Racing. The top driver from each nation, all four of the nations, will receive Next Level Racing HF8 Haptic Pad Pro. So thanks to Next Level Racing for getting involved in 2025 and getting on board for this cup. As I mentioned, qualifying is now underway. 10 minutes here from Bathurst to get the lap time in. Every single driver, apart from Josh Perrion, actually is out there on the circuit at the moment, and heading out there first is the 74 of Benjamin Roberts, who is driving for Australia, of course. Making his way onto the mountain at the moment. And I often speculate, I think I maybe did this last year, David, about whether Bathurst is an actual advantage to the Australians or not, in the same way that I don't think, to be honest, Silverstone's an advantage to those from the UK. I still think not, actually, because this circuit is so well liked and so well driven by so many people around the world. However, it is notable, at least, that we're starting here with the Australian race, ending with the UK race, and of course, we don't have one in New Zealand or South Africa.
But we might soon. There's a couple of New Zealand tracks that are definitely on their way and perhaps not far away. So Pukekohe, perhaps Highlands, some of the others. So that might be something that happens in the future. But I think it's unfair to the poor British people that they start with the away leg and they'll be down at the end of this race, behind in the points. And I think psychologically they're going to struggle to come back at Silverstone.
We'll see whether that turns out to be true or not. There's Cameron De Bastos, who is driving for South Africa in number 18, coming over the top of the mountain. Just avoiding the walls is enough of a task here in a difficult qualifying session. A high-quality field, by the way, as well. 10 drivers from each nation, I probably should explain, with 40 overall, although we have at least one noted dropout from the session already. Tristan de Nobrega unfortunately has had to drop out for South Africa, so might well be down one driver already. But we'll see how many we've actually got in the field here, whether it's 39, should be, as they make their way up. All of the New Zealand drivers seem to have gone out very, very quickly indeed, but the whole of the field will come through in a moment and set their first times of the day. De Bastos himself goes over the line with a 2:05.0 and into the lower part of the top 20. So far it's Samuel F.A. Smith who's got the best time ahead of Anto Sabo, Marcus Watson, Stefan McCartan, the top four, all Australia and New Zealand so far at the front, with Samuel Smith leading the way.
Yes, this is a 10-minute session. You get 3 flying laps. I think the way that the tyres are at the moment for GT3 cars, you will keep timing and improving, and not the first lap or the second lap, perhaps even into the third lap, you could go quicker. So that timing column will move around. Don't count any of those chickens too early. There's a lot of flying laps and a lot of drivers still to put times in here, like William Chadwick, and you can see about a quarter of his face and all of Jungelskog Soft Toy Brown Bear 100 centimetre. What's the lap time going to be like for Chadwick?
Into the start-finish line, and Chadwick goes to 9th place so far for him, just in front of Kieran Sharp, who is in the midfield at the moment for the UK as well. GB as it's being called here. It is Motorsport UK. Anyway, Northern Ireland are included. Anyway, Aidan
that's
Carter,
what the flag emoji code is for the flag.
Okay.
Go try to type that into Discord or your group chat or whatever. If you want the flag of Motorsport UK, it's flag_GB.
Okay. I didn't know that. There we go. Thanks for that. It's... I had no idea. Aidan Carter now gets his way out of the chase and into the final corner on the racetrack. See where he gets to as Benjamin Roberts just improves slightly. There's loads of improvements actually going on. Samuel Smith gets up to 2nd, McCartan up to 3rd. What about Carter for the UK? 18th place to begin with. Kieran Sharp moves up to 9th, just in behind Roberts. Anto Sabo moves ahead of Smith. 78 thousandths behind Marley Joff, who's looking quite lonely at the front for GB or United Kingdom. There's Stephen Koenig for South Africa coming through the final corners at the moment. Already in the session, by the way, we have got only 37 in the field, so we are missing a few at the beginning of this session. Out of the final turn for Stephen Koenig, 2:06.7. That will get him a little bit further down the field. It's 30th place so far for him.
Yeah, very interesting to see how this shakes out. You've got a lot of drivers with only 1 or 2 laps completed. They get 3 flying laps in this first qualifying session at Mount Panorama. There's even a couple of drivers with no time yet, like Josh Kurtzer here, looking at how the sectors are playing out and what kind of a lap time this could be. You see every lap after lap, it is still improving, and that timing is moving around a lot.
Absolutely. Kurtzer into the chase now, smashes the curb on the left-hand side. Down that big braking zone, that best overtaking opportunity on the lap, arguably. And now into the final turn. Kurtzer just a little bit wide of the apex, but this could be one of the better South African times, actually. 2:05.4. What is the time actually going to, or where is it going to put him, I should say? It doesn't look like it counts, unfortunately, this time around. Zane Khan has still not set a lap time yet for the UK. He's the only UK driver not to have set a time yet. Michael Donaldson, the only other driver to have not set a time for South Africa. So that's 3 drivers, 3 of our 37 have not set times here today. A big loss for the UK, though, hearing that Matt Caruana is not in the session at the moment for the UK. So that's a big blow to them as they begin their campaign for 2025. 2:03.2 from Zane Khan. That is going to be into 9th place, just 10th place as Stuart Ellis gets ahead. That'll be the end of the session for Khan. Anto Sabo, though, at the very end has gone 7 thousandths quicker than Molly Joff, who's now got a minute to respond to that lap time.
Yeah, Samuel Smith went into 3rd, Ewan Baker went to 4th, but it's a New Zealander, Antal Sabo, who goes to the top of the time, 0:07, displacing Molly Joffa there from 2nd place. Highest South African at the moment, it looks like it's Nicholas Roos, who's just gone up into 16th place. So I'm keeping an eye on that. Obviously, you've got New Zealand, UK, Australia in the top 3 spots. Newcomers to this series, this championship, South Africa. I think they're going to get stronger year on year, particularly, the word gets out, the best South Africans want to represent their flag, their country, their people and race here. So we'll see across both legs how they go and who's strongest in representing for South Africa.
As Joff goes over the line, it's 900ths of a second faster than Anto Sabo, and it looks like it might be pole for the UK, although Josh Perrin's a very quick driver and he's still going here. Anto Sabo and Ewan Baker are still driving as well. Not sure whether they'll get to the line in time. Perrin over the line, and he's not that far away, moves up into the top 10. 3 Aussies in the top 10, 4 Kiwis and 3 British drivers from the UK in the top 10. Very well split, actually, between those 3 nations. Unfortunately, as you say, for South Africa, the best place driver is indeed Nicholas Roos, who's down in 16th place. But there are points for 16th, and indeed all the way down to the 20th position. You get points in this Cup this year. Molly Joff has taken pole then for the opening race of the day, opening race of 2. Anto Sabo alongside with Samuel F.A. Smith and Ewan Baker on row 2. It's Marcus Watson and Benjamin Roberts who then share row 3. 7th place going to Stefan McCartan ahead of Ryan McAleeve. It is Will Chadwick next ahead of Josh Perrin, with Stuart Ellis and Zane Khan sharing row 6. Rhys Wakefield and Dylan Jordan on row 7 ahead of Damon Mulqueen, and the best placed South African Nicholas Roos in 16th place. Kieran Sharp and Daniel Patterson are then on row 9. 19th taken up by Scotty McQueen ahead of Callum Newton, rounding out the top 20. Aidan Carter next ahead of Alex Sprague, with Ian Zhu and Jamie Kosa on row 12. The first row taken up by One Nation, followed by the first All-UK row, Adam Watson, Oliver Ettridge. Cameron de Bastos and Jax Eva does the same for South Africa, row 14. Thomas Alexander and Will Chen round out the top 30. Tien van Vrooen is 31st ahead of Ludwig Grunwald. Janeman Preuss is ahead of Tien van Vrooen, with Stephen Koenig and Josh Kurtzy in 36th, and Michael Donaldson rounds out the field. He didn't set a time in that session. So 2 30-minute races to decide where the Four-Nations Esports Cup is going to go. And the first of them coming here from Bathurst, and without delay we'll be off to Silverstone after this for the second of our 30-minute races as well. But maybe I'm misremembering, David. I don't remember the first qualifying session of the day last year being quite so well split between the 3 nations we did have last year. And it's those same 3 nations who are well split again now.
Yeah, and you think, what does the front row look like? What does the second row look like? But I think across both legs, it's really going to be about which country can get the most drivers into the points-paying positions. You can have a driver from your country win both races, but if they don't have backup, if they don't have other cars on the podium and in the top 10, then they're not going to get enough points. Everyone's really looking at this short formation lap and in dire search of some tyre temperature before we get going.
Absolutely, yeah. It's such a big thing nowadays, isn't it? The tyre temperature in GT3 class racing means that these short formation laps are a real ordeal. And watch out for lap 1 here on the mountain as we get this competition underway. See the drivers in the background, got to be careful of running into each other into the final corner further down in the midfield. But it is going to be Molly Joff for the UK, bringing us to the start of the 2025 Four-Nations Esports Cup, and already fanning out 3 wide in the background. On the very narrow front straight, there's spinners in the background as well. 3 wide for third. Oh, and off the circuit. One of the Kiwis, it looks like, going off, and there's going to be carnage here. There's a spin on the mountain straight, and they've crashed in front of the field. The top 5 have gone away, but the rest are in a humongous crash on Mountain Straight. Oh my word, it's still going on here. It will be a case of who works their way out of this unscathed. The answer is nobody will. Oh my goodness, so many cars off on the Mountain Straight for the first time. An unbelievably messy start.
Well, it was really stacked up, really tight coming out of the slow final corner. They were doing 60 k's an hour. They were bunched up when the green flag dropped. We were 3 wide heading into turn 1. And then once you got overlap, heading up Mountain Straight, one driver moves across, takes another driver. The walls are pretty close there as well. So many damaged cars. And you're right, it is about who survived, who snuck through. And look at Nicholas Roos up into 6th. He got a lightning start, went the correct way, has gone through, and now there's drama at the cut.
Oh dear, there's always going to be as well. That was the place I was fearing it actually, through the cutting, but it was actually on the mountain straight first time round. Can see Nicholas Roos dropping down the field. That's terrible news for South Africa. I was just about to say, look how many South Africans there are inside the top 15 suddenly. And you mentioned about who's getting through. Well, that is the big thing. But Nicholas Roos has got front end damage here. He's got to stay out the way of his teammates and try and get in the way of anybody who's not his teammate in the next few moments. But he will be coming to pit lane surely in the end of this lap. Already 4 drivers into pit lane. Benjamin Roberts, Ryan McAuliffe, Josh Perry and Callum Newton. Ewan Baker's just gone back pit lane as well. That's it for Australia, the United Kingdom and for New Zealand. Some of their best drivers actually have had to go back to pit lane there and won't be scoring any points from race 1.
Yeah, so you're calling out drivers that have had to tow. There's a couple more that I think are going to drive into pit lane at the end of this lap as well. And there's quite a lot of damaged cars. It's all about, who got through. Well, your top 3 are the same as the top 3 from the grid. But Stephen McCartan's gone up into 4th. Adam Watson has come from nowhere to 6th place on that opening lap as the carnage began inside of the top 10. And it was a roll of the dice in a lottery for everyone behind. Cameron de Bastos, Sharks Eva, both coming up 19 positions on the opening lap to put South Africa suddenly into some nice point scoring positions. And there are a dozen cars driving into pit lane, wounded, and McLaren parts strewn everywhere.
Patterson led them on. There's Will Chadwick. Nicholas Roos also had to come in unsurprisingly. Janneman Preuss in. Aidan Carter, Ludwig Groveld, Jamie Kosa. Imagine Damon Bulquin to be in as well. So 23 survive. Oh dear, and this might not be the worst idea actually from Alex Sprague in the New Zealand McLaren. There you can see he's actually still in points playing positions in the top 20. And if he can hold on with no front end there, then he got a decent chance there of scoring some points. Oliver Ettridge as well for the UK has decided to carry on in 12th, and just up in front actually Ian Jew from Australia has also had to carry on in 11th place with no front end. Another front end missing there. That's Kieran Sharp, I think. Yep, there it is in 17th place, just in front of Zain Khan, another UK driver who's carrying on. So a big decision had to be made there among those who drove round to the start-finish line. Do you carry on with the damage or not? And we've got at least 5 drivers who have.
Yeah, and with how many other damaged cars there are, I think there are some cars that are going to be able to stay inside the points paying positions. A look at the live standings, live points as they run right now. New Zealand ahead of the UK, ahead of Australia, ahead of South Africa. So New Zealand have come through pretty well in this. You can see drivers like Antal Sabo, Stephen McCartan and Marcus Watson in very strong scoring spots, but then a few more throughout the reaches between 10th and 20th.
Yeah, this is really tipped it on its head, because at the end of qualifying, South Africa were barely scoring any points at all. Best placed driver in 16th place, only 5 points or so for them. So loads of gains being made there as they come down towards the chase to UK drivers either side here of Roxanne Bartel in 17th place. A decent run from Zain Khan into the final corner. A look down the inside. Got to be careful. Is careful rather into the final corner and gets the position as well up to 17th. And there you see the live points changing. The situation changes, but it's there's no doubt that New Zealand are the leaders by some margin at the end of that opening lap. 24 points ahead of the United Kingdom. Let's see how it all started on lap number 1.
So one of the NZ cars gets wide. Oh, no, it's up there.
Yeah, it's a New Zealand car alongside 2 Australians, and then it's just carnage after that. It's absolute carnage.
Bumpers, front and rear, light assemblies, everything. It's just strewn. You can see 20 of them.
Drivers taking the grass in the background to try and avoid. Just look how they all pile in here. Only 5 made it through, and they are still the top 5 now. But look at that, what a mess. And as I say, really brought South Africa into the game, because they were a little bit further behind to begin with. Allowed them the time to pick their way through as a general rule, and that's given them more points here at the beginning of this one, and less damaged cars as well, so they can pick off some drivers now, which is starting to happen. You can see Michael Donaldson here on the back of Alex Sprague, still with quite a lot of damage actually. He seems to be one of the more damaged drivers to have carried on, just Alex Sprague actually. So yes, that's another thing to look out for as well. But unfortunate. It's narrow at Bathurst as we know, but didn't even get onto the mountain before the big crash, unfortunately.
So Smith here holding on to third, ahead of McCartan in fourth for New Zealand, Marcus Watson in fifth for New Zealand. So a chance for the Kiwis to move up another spot here. You've got the highest scoring Australian starting to come under pressure from two drivers from New Zealand, but then Adam Watson's just in the background there, one of the biggest movers in this race as well, like I mentioned, from 25th on the grid, I think, up into 6th, just going the right way in that opening stuff. Here's Adam Watson on the replay, first lap. So much smoke in the air, brake lights. You can tell that, he just kind of goes the right way, I think, and sneaks through, and that's what it takes, is to recognise this is a big one and just go to the grass.
Yeah, at that point in the racetrack, it's the thing to do, and Adam Watson did just that. Michael Donaldson has gained the most places of anybody, though, because he started last. He's up 22 places for South Africa, up into 15th now. But this battle for third is a big one, especially for Australia. Samuel Smith cannot afford to have a crash here or drop all the way down the field. If you look at the points total at the moment for the Aussies, 43 points as it stands. Samuel Smith scoring 18 of them, 25 between the other 9. Admittedly, Cody Deef isn't here. Another one of Australia's best drivers, actually, probably would have been Australia's best driver, actually, over the course of tonight's race. So a lot riding on Smith's performance at the moment as Ettridge goes wide, and through there goes Scotty McQueen, and Sprague going to try and do the same as well. Oliver Ettridge seems to have maybe even more damage, seems to have a lot of understeer anyway as he goes over the top of the mountain there.
Yeah, I mean, surely mechanically they seem to be carrying on without the front clip, but it can't be good. I'm keeping an eye on some of the end of straight speeds here as well to see if it's sort of aerodynamic damage compromising them in a straight line. Ettridge damaged for UK, Sprague damaged for New Zealand, and then 2 UK cars back there missing their front clips as well. Michael Donaldson from South Africa should hopefully have a bit of straight line speed compared to them in this case then.
This is the view of Cameron de Bastos, who's now just moved up to 7th, by the way, just got past Stuart Ellis. But this is a showcase of how to get through the carnage without damaging your car. Slow down a bit, a novel idea.
Did you see that UK car roll backwards and take out another UK car?
Not a bit of friendly fire there. This is Michael Donaldson. I mentioned that he gained 22 places. Well, the fact he's already spun before the start maybe helped him here, unless there was contact maybe. But anyway, he sees this coming out the final at the first corner, and he doesn't really have to do too much to pick his way through it. As everybody's trying to rejoin, he takes it nice and carefully, and so many guys will have had to come in to do some damage repair that he's just picked them all up here. Look at that, driving down the grass, off the circuit, overtakes off the circuit, but never mind. He's through up into 15th place in live pictures, as you can see at the bottom left, at the bottom right of your screen. So great amount of places gained, and then just picking off more drivers who were damaged. Just as you mentioned, so many front bumpers just lying across the racetrack on Mountain Straight there. What a messy start to this race.
Yeah, so here's where Donaldson's ended, 2 positions gained, just picking them off through there as he went, but then starting to come under a little bit of pressure now. Kieran Sharp behind was quicker last lap by about 2 tenths and is climbing all over Donaldson. So Donaldson's in a tough position here now, having gained all of those spots, kept a clean car, but there are some quicker drivers looking to come back through the field. The end of straight speed for Donaldson is a little bit more, clocking 272 k's an hour, while Sharp's only managed 270. Zane Khan's only managed 257 from what I can see, so that's a really damaged car, losing spots just at the tail of this group. Yeah, and look, even if Sharp can be quick over the top of the mountain, there's too much aerodynamic damage to run with Donaldson down the mountain here into the best overtaking opportunity, and that's kind of keeping Donaldson safe for the moment. If you're not quick into the best and maybe only overtaking opportunity, then it's going to be tough.
Yeah, you've got to stay there and hope for a mistake out front, because it's very hard to actually make the pass where Kieran Sharp is clearly quicker. But again, he's playing the team game here, because maybe if this was the first round of an individual championship or whatever, you might come into the pit lane. He can't really afford to come into pit lane. It would cost the UK 5 points, and obviously that goes to other nations as well, so the loss is actually more than 5. And yeah, he's got to stay out there even with the damage, because he can at least hold on to 60. He's got help from Zain Khan behind, although, as you say, very slow straight line speed. Donaldson to the outside of Alex Sprague. Oh, and there you go. There's the mistake that Sharp had been waiting for. He slipped straight through. Zain Khan will try and do the same as well. Michael Donaldson a bit over ambitious. Oh no, Zain Khan hits the back of Donaldson, and that surely is the end of that. He already had really bad straight line speed, and that surely has just put the nail in the coffin for that car.
Yeah, and unfortunate for Donaldson. I mean, he's tried to make a move around the outside of turn 2, Griffin's Bend. Rarely ever works because of the camber. He had a straight line speed advantage on some of the other damaged cars, but as he went, he just couldn't get far enough around the outside, and then lost out because of that. I'm watching a battle for the podium, because McCartan and Watson are getting so much closer to Samuel Smith there in 3rd, and they are climbing all over him, and that could be massive. It could be yet more points for New Zealand if they get past the highest running Aussie.
And they're already 26 points ahead of the United Kingdom, 42 ahead of Australia. Let's have a look back at what happened to Zain Khan in the 17th place. He nearly hit Donaldson immediately here and just misjudges this, I think, aiming for the apex. Donaldson obviously brakes earlier because he's on a tighter line there. Had to try and pull it back in time, but there you go. This is Sprague versus Sharp, 2 damaged cars coming down the hill towards the chase. So this is Khan, sorry, battling side by side. Oh, and there's contact with Donaldson again, and the Kiwi off the road as well. Picking his way through the field is Roxanne Bartle, the South African coming through. Still no pit stop there for Will Chadwick, by the way, who's got a really damaged car. There into the pit lane comes Reece Wakefield. Oh, Zain Khan did come in, excuse me. So did Michael Donaldson. So now into the top 20, Will Chen for Australia and Daniel Patterson for New Zealand back into the top 20. We're now starting to see some guys who took a fast repair, or at least a bit of time down pit lane. We're starting to see them work their way into the top 20 now.
Well, I hope we see some better driving soon. I've seen a couple of things now that I don't like. And look at this. I mean, who's got a front clip left? There's more missing than have it after everything that happened over lap 1. This is up at that podium position like I was talking about. Great exit from the elbow from Stefan McCartan in the slipstream of Samuel Smith. Pulls to the right-hand side. Not a bad place to be. We'll get a side draft coming over the top of the hill. Now they're level at the crest. This is a great opportunity and a great move for New Zealand.
Down the inside for McCartan, 2 in the top 3 from New Zealand if he can get it, and he can. Outside line for McCartan, and that extends the New Zealand points lead even further over the United Kingdom, but over 2, of course, over Australia. 1 point per position, by the way, from 3rd place on backwards. 1st and 2nd, there is a little bit more on the line, of course, as expected, but 1 point per position a little bit further back. Dylan Jordan, meanwhile, has gotten past Roxanne Bartle and Will Chen, who are both seem to be have gone off the road. That's
spun at the dip at top of the hill. Roxanne Bartle was backwards and Will Chen hit them.
Okay, so that's why they're dropping down. As I say, Chadwick has moved up a place, Patterson as well. Tien Van Rooyen is in the top 20 as a result as well then. And now up to 19th place, so that's 2 points. But New Zealand continue to extend their lead. Look at that, 31 points over the UK, 51 over Australia, and 63 over South Africa, who might be about to get another place here. Jack Saver is just in behind Stuart Ellis, another one of those drivers without a front end on that car. And see the yellow just about as Ava moves to the outside. Got to be careful of going all the way around there. Thomas Alexander will take the place if not careful. And that's good defending from Stuart Ellis, who keeps 8th position for Australia. Only their 2nd driver in the top 10. He also has got a lot counting on him at the moment as well.
If they stay close with him, though, he's going to be a sitting duck. He's also missing 10 kilometres an hour in the straight line from the elbow down towards the braking zone at the chase. So if Jacques Saver and Thomas Alexander can stay close here over the top of the hill, they'll really stand a good chance, but they don't quite seem to be able to do that. Closes in through the high-speed stuff, though.
Yeah, this is over the top of the hill now, back down the other side. As Ava tries to apply this pressure for 8th position. Over half a minute, by the way, off the race lead of Marley Joff, who's looking pretty comfortable at the moment for the UK, just over 3 seconds ahead of Anto Sabo, who's looking pretty comfortable in second in turn. So come out now onto the Comrade straight. Now you see the straight line speed difference. Stuart Ellis in a bit of trouble here because of that straight line speed disadvantage that you're mentioning. And Ava surely is going to be able to have a go on the way towards the chase here. There you go, look down the inside. There's a big difference in terms of straight line speed there. And this is going to be 8th place for South Africa, surely. Outside line for the second part of the chase for Ava. And Ellis can't do anything to defend here. Stuart Ellis, Thomas Alexander. Oh, and there's contact. Alexander and McQueen also battling away behind to try and get ahead of Ellis. A good run around the outside, actually, from Stuart Ellis. Maybe he will keep this place after all.
He's driving really well. The car's braking really well. It just doesn't have straight line speed, so vulnerable into the chase, but you can stay right-hand side of the road here, and it's difficult for someone else to get all the way around you at turn 2. Going to get another really great straight line run here, but you know that Ellis is just going to try to hold that inside in the grippy side of the road and the cambered side of the road.
Try again for Ava, but it never really works out there. And Stuart Ellis stays in front for another lap, but he's got over 12 minutes to hold on for, and that just seems like a little bit too far, to be honest, to be able to hold on to this position over 3 healthy cars, both from Ava himself, but also Thomas Alexander and Scotty McQueen as well, in the next 2 New Zealand cars. And look at the gap now. The United Kingdom losing further points, by the way, as Oliver Ettridge now drops out. He has come down to pit lane, so outside the top 20. The gap for New Zealand, 41 points now. This is a massive first score for New Zealand.
Yep, it is looking really strong. It's only your top 15 cars now that haven't stopped. Daniel Patterson from New Zealand in 16th has driven through the pit lane, repaired his car, and stands a chance to gain a couple more spots in the back half of this race as well. More drivers have been through pit lane for repairs than haven't at this point. So you are going to, in the fringes of the 20, start to see some repaired cars looking to pass and overtake damaged cars.
Yeah, that is going to start to happen in the last 10 minutes here, as the majority now have indeed been in pit lane, which is not great news for those who have got...
Smith wide at 1 there, so Marcus Watson has another chance. You got to get to the right-hand side of the road coming up Mountain Straight, which Watson can't quite do. Is he bumping Smith? They've got a bit of lap traffic as well that's going to start to perhaps frustrate the top 5 and top 10.
Oh, he bumps him initially. Oh, tries to go down the inside and takes him out. Samuel Smith's in the fence. That's the goal, and he's taken out one of his teammates as well. That was a lap down Australian there, who's also been taken out, but that's what Australia could not afford. Samuel Smith was there. A big hope inside the top 5 here. He's dropped down not only from 3rd, but from the field entirely here. Australia are going to lose big points now, and that is going to put them last of the 4, I think, after 1 race. That is massive for Australia, and I've got to say, he was taken out there pretty good with Samuel Smith, and he's out of this first race.
So when I talk about lapped cars frustrating the leaders, I'd say a lapped car parked on the apex is pretty frustrating in a situation like that. So let's take a look. So we're battling here, and you've just got a car parked on the inside.
It's hard to see whether to blame the lap car or Marcus Watson more, actually. I don't know whether he should have seen that situation in front of him and maybe not put himself there, but yeah, you're in a difficult situation always round. This is the view from the air. He's clearly coming down the inside, but the lap car does make that situation very complicated.
The lap car moves to the left. The lap car moves off the white line as well, and should have slowed earlier.
Yeah, well, yeah, certainly with the long straight in front, probably should have got out the way at the beginning of it, but it was always going to happen with so many lap cars. We've only got 26 now on the lead lap out of the 37. Admittedly, 6 of those have retired. 2 Australians, 2 South Africans, 2 British drivers, United Kingdom drivers. But that said it all for me. three nations with two drivers out each, but one nation hasn't got any, and it's New Zealand who are looking for even more points. Oh, look at Thomas Alexander here, outside of two, and he gets them both for the chase. A great bit of driving from Thomas Alexander. 2 points to New Zealand, and a point taken away from Australia and South Africa each. What a great bit of driving that was from Thomas Alexander, who moves through on both of those guys. Or was it a lap car?
I think a lapped car was unlapping itself there. Stuart Ellis still holds on to 7th ahead of Jacques Ava, and Thomas Alexander's back there in 9th. So a lap down of these guys. I think that might have been
Ewan
Baker, yeah.
Unbelievable bit of driving, by the way, but not for a place. If he'd have taken those two out, by the way, it would have been less good.
Maybe you don't defend it when it's a car trying to unlap itself as well. Ewan Baker is a really, really quality driver, and it's a shame that we're missing seeing him up the front. But I guess his fellow countrymen are doing him proud at the moment, so he's got to make sure come race 2 that he's also in a scoring position to help New Zealand defend a lead on the first leg if that's where they find themselves.
Well, yeah, there's a number of the big drivers for each of the nations who are down the field. Unfortunately, Ewan Baker, one of those for New Zealand, who've just had Daniel Patterson, by the way, drop back to pit lane and outside the top 20. So there's some points lost for New Zealand. The gap was over 40 at one stage. It's now down to 33 in the point standings as the UK give chase to that points lead, which looks like it's going to go to New Zealand at the end of the first race. But yeah, Ewan Baker for New Zealand down the field. Australia have lost Samuel Smith. I think Benjamin Roberts is going to have a good race as well. Josh Perrin as well. That's three pretty big drivers actually for Australia to be out the race. Will Chadwick for the UK is out as well. So and Nicholas Roos, of course, for South Africa. All nations have had at least one of their big names drop down the field a long way. Here is Jack Saver though. He's taken a long time to get past Stuart Ellis, but now finally he's going to get it on the way towards the chase. He's on the inside line and he's clear in time. So South Africa get another point at the expense of Australia, who is now getting all their hopes on Stuart Ellis. Oh, who goes wide? And here comes Thomas Alexander. Australia going to lose another point now. They'll be down to 23 points as Stuart Ellis drops to 9th.
Might have just experienced a bit of aero wash for the first time as the other car got by, really just ran wide out the second part of the chase. And it's been costly. Good move, really good move from Eva and Alexander though, who I don't think at the start of this race would have thought they were going to be in such great point scoring positions. They're both up 21 spots. They started 28th and 29th on the grid, and now they're moving up to score points for South Africa and New Zealand. So a couple more points heading South Africa's way here.
Good afternoon or good evening wherever you are in the world watching this Four-Nations Esports Cup in 2025. Let us know which of the four nations you're out here supporting here tonight or this morning. I'm not going to give you any guesses who me and David are supporting respectively, but we have some Kiwis here. So anyway, they're going to be leading by 33 points, it looks like, at the moment. Dare I say so far, David, if I can say so, a very un-Australian performance, I must say.
Well, I think the problem was all the Australians qualified too well, and the wreck happened inside of the top 10. So I think if they'd all just started from the pit lane, we'd have New Zealand, United Kingdom and South Africa on the ropes.
Yeah, well, I know you're joking, but there's a slight bit of truth to it. In the sense that South Africa actually starting at the back were able to pick their way through the opening lap a little bit better than certainly the Australians were able to first time round, and to an extent the other two nations as well. But yeah, they're still not got quite as many points as New Zealand or the United Kingdom. As you can see, the gap between nations pretty large at the moment. 33 is the lead for New Zealand. South Africa trail by 63 and Australia trail by 72 going into the last race. I mean, they've managed to concede this gap in one race, so it's not over for them in terms of gaining that gap back again in the second race. But I think the problem for all the other nations now, other than New Zealand obviously, is that they're kind of waiting and hoping that New Zealand have a bad round at Silverstone coming up next.
Watching Zane Khan here, who's had to take his fast repair after running into a couple of things, but he'll run around the outside of Tian van Rooyen and get another spot for the UK, take one away from South Africa. inside of the top 20, there's a couple of other spots. So Jamie Coase has been through pit lane, is behind Michael Donaldson, who's also been through pit lane. So there's a couple of spots, tail end of the 20th, top 20 here, that could still move around.
This is Jamie Coase. Huge points available here if he were to get 1 or 2. He's only got 2 points to his name at the moment, but he's the third of 3 drivers, 3 Australians, who are in the top 20 at the moment. Not been the best start of the day so far, to the day for Australia, as now they come on to Mountain Straight again here into the slipstream for Jamie Coase on the back of Michael Donaldson, and it's going to be outside line for Coase. Difficult to work your way around there through turn 2, so we'll have to try again at some other stage. But 3.5 minutes to go. Molly Joff is just coming over the line now, so 2 laps to go realistically, which also means 2 laps to go when these guys get to the line. 2.5 laps to go for these two battling away for 18th place.
Yeah, Coase made a mistake there trying to take a wide line through turn 2. Should have gone from that wide entry and tried to cut back to a late apex under, rather than try to go around the outside, but wide over the top of the hill as well. You've just got to position yourself for the overtaking opportunities, because it's 6.2 kilometers and you can be quicker in a dozen places, but really either you make a really good move to Griffin's Bend at turn number 2, or you pass into the chase, or you make the other driver defend into the chase, and then maybe at the bottom of the hill in turn 1, Hell Corner, for example, you might be able to make a pass. But it's not happening around the outside of Griffin's Bend. It's not happening over the top of the mountain here. So you've just got to exercise a little bit of patience lap after lap to put yourself in the spot to try to make the move. Unfortunately, with the amount of time left on the clock, you're not going to have too many more opportunities.
Absolutely. There is not long to go of race number 1. In case you're just joining us, by the way, didn't hear us say at the start, there is 2 races in the Four-Nations Esports Cup. We will be going to Silverstone after this for another round of racing, another half an hour, and another qualifying session to come in a moment as well. 2 minutes to go, and Alex Sprague and Dylan Jordan are going to exchange places among Kiwis, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem and won't affect the points overall, of course. So we go back to that battle now in the lower part of the top 20, because Oliver Ettridge is just in that last spot inside the 20 now as well, and moving through with that after that fast repair. It's part of that 3 drivers actually from the United Kingdom who have all come into the pit lane, use their fast repair, and are now coming through the field, which is why you've seen them just tip over 60 points again. It's because Carter, Khan and Ettridge have all managed to find themselves in the top 20 and some very, very, very valuable points a little bit further down the field as the white flag now comes out. But Molly Joff just got over the line in time, so has given us an extra lap in this race. 15 laps for this opening race of the day, and another couple of laps for Donaldson to hold on here from Coase and Ettridge as well, who's much closer over the top of the mountain this time.
Yeah, Ettridge is flying. He's got a personal best in this race of a 203.1 compared to 204 for Donaldson. Last lap was a 205 for Jamie Coase. Oh,
just bobbled over the curb there, did Ettridge. I know you're looking at timing screen, but yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Is you can't make a mistake like that over the top of the mountain, because then you need to still be in position here coming out of the elbow. You're not going to pass them over Skyline, so you don't need to take that kind of risk. It just costs you, takes you out of this battle, and suddenly the swing, it looks so good for Jamie Coase, who was on the defence, now he's on the attack.
It comes on the straight. This is important points for Australia if they can get them into the chase. Here he goes on the inside line, on the way down the hill. Going to be close tight on the way in, and onto the brakes they go. Donaldson on the inside, of course, a little bit wide from Coase. They're slow on the exit. Here comes Ettridge, a very small gap, but he's going to get 19th here. Another point for the United Kingdom, it looks like, inside line, and he's going to maybe take 2, not quite. He would have been late on the brakes there and maybe getting into an incident. So up the inside, up to 19th. Opportunistic driving from Ettridge as they see the white flag wave. Not too much further behind. Molly Joff is going to take this first race for the United Kingdom. He's into the chase now. Some very, very valuable 25 points for the United Kingdom. In fact, he's taking up well over a third of the total with this victory here. Molly Joff into the final corner, keeps the United Kingdom alive in the Four-Nations Esports Cup for 2025. He takes the victory here here from Bathurst, but behind 3 Kiwis in a row. Anto Sabo, Stephen McCartin, Marcus Watson, putting them on a big way to get towards 95 points at most, maybe at least. We'll see what happens on the last lap. But it looks like New Zealand who will take the points lead. Oh, and Ettridge spins. There'll be points taken away from the United Kingdom on the last lap.
This is it, isn't it? You can't do it alone. What a great performance from Marley Joff, doing all he can do, but he needs his countrymen to go with him, and following him home was 1, 2, 3 flying Kiwis, and that's going to give New Zealand the lead at the end of this. Ettridge with just a little mistake costing his nation some points.
Into the final corner, and this is Jack Xavier holding off Thomas Alexander. South Africa getting their very valuable 32 points, mostly from De Bastos and Ava, who finished in 6th and 7th. They score between the two of them 29 of the 32 points scored in this race. There's Dylan Jordan, couldn't quite get to Ian Jew at the end there for New Zealand, but they've got quite a few points anyway. Now then, into the final corners for Donaldson and Kota, no longer with Ettridge putting the pressure on from behind. It's just these two now, and Kota's going to have a better run through the chase there with a better line. Can he dive down the inside maybe and take an extra point, steal an extra point right at the very end? It doesn't look like it. Donaldson defends into the final corner because it is the last corner of the race, so no need to stay on the racing line, and indeed there you go, takes that position, and there was a bit of netcode by the looks of things. Will Chen making contact there with Stephen Koenig for 23rd, although it won't matter at the end of the day. Of course, no points outside the top 20.
Well, chaos at the start, chaos to bring it home. And my goodness, New Zealand out to sizable lead, defending champs Australia not having a good one. They are 4th of 4 nations after the first race.
It's Marley Joff who takes that first race for the United Kingdom by nearly 3 seconds out of 3 Kiwis, Anto Sabo, Stephen McCartin and Marcus Watson, giving them a long way to get into the points lead. Adam Watson is in 5th place with the first of the South Africans. Next, Cameron De Bastos ahead of his teammate Jack Ava. Thomas Alexander finishes 8th ahead of Stuart Ellis, the best Australian, down in 9th. A big surprise for them. Scotty McQueen rounds out the top 10. Look at the time gaps, by the way, already. 11th place, over a minute off the lead. Kieran Sharp for the United Kingdom ahead of Ian Jew, who held off Dylan Jordan and Alex Sprague. Zane Khan was coming through the field quite nicely towards the end, one of 3 UK drivers actually to be doing so, along with Aidan Carter and Oliver Ettridge. Between Carter and Ettridge was Tian van Bruyn, Michael Donaldson and Jamie Koza. Those last two, of course, fighting amongst themselves for 18th and 19th place. Outside of the points then, in 21st place was Janneman Preuss, first of all, with Ludwig Gronewald next. It's Will Chen in 23rd, ahead of Stephen Koenig, the last driver on the lead lap after that late incident with Chen. Damon McMulqueen finishes 1 lap down with Callum Newton, Tian van Bruyn and Ewan Baker. Daniel Patterson and Samuel Smith ending up multiple laps down between them as well. And then you get to those retirements outside of the top 30 as well. Benjamin Roberts and Reece Wakefield 6 laps down alongside Will Chadwick, Josh Kurtzey, Nicholas Roos, Josh Perrin, Ryan Micallef in 37th. Hearing, by the way, that we may well get more in this second race of the day, hearing that Matt Caruana for the United Kingdom might be here for race number 2 at Silverstone. But we will wait and find out when we get there, of course. Everybody's got to transfer over now from the Bathurst session over to the Silverstone session. Not sure quite how long we've got here between the 2 qualifying sessions, but anyway, we've got enough time to chat to anybody if they decide to come into the waiting room. And they may indeed just stay in their rigs and focus on race number 2, because it will be coming up very, very shortly indeed. An entertaining first race, but one that's defined, David, very much by that opening lap crash. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I'm going to need a visit to my dentist or something. I think I'm grinding my teeth after that one. There were some bits that were less pleasant to watch. This is such a great event. It's a great idea. I love this sort of stuff that we get to cover on RaceSpotTV, where there's, it's not, who's the best driver in the world for $1 million. It's got a twist to it. It's got a niche. It's got a quirk. So 60+ racing adventures where the drivers are 60 years of age or older. Really exciting for the place that it occupies in sim racing and what it gives to those people. And this is so interesting as, taking the motorsport and iRacing and turning it into a team sport between the countries. And we've just had such a perfect example of that in this first race, with Marley Joff taking the outright win, the fastest driver in qualifying, the fastest driver in the race. But without his teammates behind him, you can have a football team that's got one big money superstar player, but without the role players, without a good goalkeeper, you're not winning championships.
Yeah, exactly. And that has been really just exemplified by this first race of the day. New Zealand taking the advantage from the first race, just over 30 points, I think, at last count. They held over the United Kingdom after race one, but same goes for any of those trailing nations at the moment, that they managed to lose that amount of points in race number one, so they could very much gain them back again in race number two and take the overall. Nobody's out of it because it's a two-race series, a two-race cup. It means that any gap is retrievable at the end of the first race. So it is still possible, but New Zealand definitely holding the advantage after the first race of the day. But, we're going to a British circuit next in Silverstone. I'm still, doubtful that actually the location of the circuit, I don't think Bathurst is a particular advantage to the Australians. I don't think Silverstone is an advantage to the United Kingdom drivers either. But we are going to Silverstone next up. And, it's going to be a big race for New Zealand to try and hold on to the Four-Nations Esports Cup this time around. They've got more than 30 points to try and massage to the very end of the second race, which will also be 30 minutes in length, after we've been here at Bathurst, of course, as you can see. But yeah, they've got 31 points-ish to hold on to. And I can't decide, to be honest, whether that's a nice gap to have, or as in how easy that's going to be for them to hold on or not, to be honest. We'll just have to wait and see, especially after we get after qualifying in the first race. The second race of the day.
Yeah, I think there's something about the choice of car here, because where was Bruce McLaren from?
I don't know why you're asking me.
I think the Kiwis have got an unfair advantage here, it being in the McLaren. So perhaps if we were in an Aston Martin, the UK would have it. Something to think about. But something I think about is, when it really matters, who's faster in a McLaren, an Australian or a British? And the answer is in the F1 points standings.
Very good. You're not the first Australian to use that as a source of national superiorism over the United Kingdom. But no, fair enough. It's just notable that we don't really see it like that, to be honest with you. But either way, there's better team sports to measure our two nations against each other, and I'm not sure Formula One is that sport. But anyway, maybe this is. And there's one clear winner at the moment between the UK and Australia, and that's what I care about. Never mind the Kiwis; they can win. That's fine by me. As long as we beat Australia, I don't mind.
Well, I think if it's a tie on points, then Australia win, because we'd be retaining the Ashes.
Yeah, as you seem to.
Unless you can find some way that you raced, more in the spirit of racing.
Yeah, I would say so. I'll get thinking in the next half an hour, and I'll see how in what way we're morally superior this time. I'll try and figure it out in the next half.
Just tell your wicketkeeper to stay within the track limits.
Oh God. Anyway, still slightly traumatized. Anyway. We'll see how we get on. Qualifying will be in a moment. Practice just drawing to a close. Pretty quick turnaround. Of course, a big thanks to everyone, by the way, behind the scenes who's organised this for another year. As Debbie was just talking about there, and I thoroughly echo the sentiment. This is a fantastic event. Thoroughly enjoyed doing this last year. Enjoying it again this year now that it's expanded to 4 nations, with South Africa joining the fray. Of course, this had a 48-hour qualifying event before, at the end of July, before this event. So if you want to join in next year, then do look out for that towards the second half of next year. If you are from one of these 4 nations, even though it says GB, you're welcome from Northern Ireland as well, by the way, from the United Kingdom. But yeah, look out for the qualifying maybe next year if we're doing it the same way, or indeed how to get involved next year, because I know it's a great event, and people from all 4 nations will want to get involved, because it is a great event. As we now do get into qualifying. 10 minutes again to decide where our nearly 40 drivers are going to be. It looks like pretty much everybody who's in that first race is set up to get into race number 2 as well. So they'll now get out, try and warm up the tyres. It'll be a session that really draws to a climax at the very end rather than very early on, because of the new tyres and because of how cold they are to begin with. But this is a huge qualifying session for those nations trying to win this, especially for New Zealand and the United Kingdom, who start with the best 2-point scores. But for Australia and South Africa as well, you've got to have a good qualifying here, because we saw how important it was in that first race. Only the top 5 made it through that incident. Who's to say something like that doesn't happen again here? And you want to be in that top 5 to avoid the crashes to begin with again.
Oh, I think the first time through Lupin Village is going to be very clean in this second race. You only go from cold tyres, very fast through turns 1 and 2 into a big switchback stop in 3 and 4. There's no way that could possibly go wrong.
Can't see anything wrong with that. Actually, I've done a couple of races here recently, actually, with the new tyre model. Since the hypercars anyway, got a GTP's got, which I know was a long time ago now. But Aintree seems to be the real difficult one, both when I was driving, but also in a Motorsport UK Esports event we did here this week in the Silverstone 300 kilometres, the Abruzzi Prototype Challenge we did on Wednesday. It was a spin out of Aintree, which was actually easiest on the cold tyres. 2 pit stops were made during that race. We're not going to see that here. But as you come out on the older tyres, the colder tyres, sorry, the new tyres, but cold tyres, it's Aintree where you really likely to spin, and the eventual race winner that day indeed went around in a big spin. So it's very easy to do indeed, as the drivers now make their way to the final chicane and onto the start-finish line for the first time. There's Matt Caruana, by the way, in the number 2 car. If you're watching a YouTube chat, you will have seen he was posting about the fact he's overslept this morning. It is a start time of just after 8 o'clock on Sunday morning here in the United Kingdom. So Caruana saying that he's not a morning person and he didn't wake up in time. So he's here now anyway, and he will be out there for the United Kingdom in the next few moments. But Benjamin Roberts leads them away. We are underway for the qualifying laps here from Silverstone. There won't be many of them, and these first lap times won't be the fastest ones, but we are underway.
Yeah, Daniel Patterson's got the purple first sector starting his lap. Matt Caruana, we'll see, did plenty of work trying to warm those tyres on the out lap, and then 3 flying laps to keep warming them as well will work out. Caruana is one of the first drivers through the next timing sector, so he's purple through it because he's the first to get there, but it does look like this is, at least for a first effort, shaping up as a pretty good lap. A couple of little bits of track limits perhaps to be careful with around here. I've seen the outside of the final corner onto the pit straight, and then here exiting Cops, and a couple of other little places you can overdo it. I reckon Caruana was probably okay there, but if you went half a car width wider, I don't think your lap time would be counting. So it's something to keep in mind here on the wide open plains of Silverstone.
That's something you've always got to think about around here.
I mean, you guys have got mountains in the UK. Why haven't you put racetracks on them?
I don't really know. We're not as imaginative, I don't think. We just
we've got airfields too, and we let our planes land on them.
Yes. Well, we don't apparently. So there you go. That's a good point, really. I don't know why not. Some circuits are built around hills, I suppose. Cadwell Park's quite hilly. Brands Hatch as well, quite hilly, but yeah, it's not quite the same as Bathurst. I think we're a bit less ambitious, to be honest with you. Meanwhile,
Ingledell isn't quite a Mount Panorama, is it?
No, it isn't. No, it's not. Yeah, good point. Caruana comes over the line. He will indeed take the early lead, but as I said before, that time is going to be blown out the water by the ones at the end. Ewan Baker into second, Stefan McCartan into third, Kieran Sharp fourth. So Australia finally got a time in here from Samuel Smith. He's up to second, and he will have a point to prove after race number one. South Africa needs someone with a good qualified performance here as well. Molly Joff goes to the top again. I know it doesn't really matter, but Molly Joff's qualifying performances when they're all on cold tyres are extraordinary. 5 tenths ahead of everybody else again. I'm not sure how he does it.
Maybe he's got a good technique on the outlap for at least initially preparing the tyres. That could be something. You can see a couple more first lap times come through again. Samuel Smith representing for Australia. Marcus Watson doing well for New Zealand there. Ewan Baker, after being a lap down in the first race, well, he's there 5th in the qualifying. Don't think we said Scotty McQueen much in race one either, but he's 9th there, so a good showing on the first laps from New Zealand. They've really brought it this year by the looks of things.
Absolutely have. And you've got to remember that Ewan Baker was not a point scorer from race one as well, and he still scored over 90. So very positive first race for the Kiwis, that's for sure. Still lots of times yet to come in. I think what you were mentioning about track limits has been fallen afoul of by a couple of drivers, although not the driver we were watching in Matt Caruana. There would have been other drivers off the circuit slightly.
Remember, he was one of the best drivers for New Zealand, and his first lap was deleted because of track limits here. Zane Khan's lap time deleted because of track limits. Josh Perween's lap, Stuart Ellis, Adam Watson, some really quick guys, and that were representing in the top 10 of the first race. Their first lap hasn't counted, but they shouldn't be too worried about that for reasons you were already talking about. Yeah,
it's a long enough session to be able to pull this one back again, and so let's see. Samuel Smith into the final corners now. Benjamin Roberts gets ahead of him. Matt Caruana can't even go quicker than Marty Joff's first time with his second. Stefan McCartan moves up to third for New Zealand. Ewan Baker up to 5th. Smith is going to get it back ahead of them, though, I would expect, as he goes over the line, and he does. Ahead of Anto Sabo as well, who, as you mentioned, got an off-track first time round. He's back in the game. He's in 4th, but you know they're not on pole, not even in the top 3. But this is a strong session so far for the Kiwis. Look how many there are in the top 13, and there Marcus Watson, another one in the top 13. Are they all in the top 13? Maybe no. There's only 7 of them. But my goodness, what a strong qualifying session again. Will Chadwick needing to oh, he's putting his camera back round the right way this time. Although now we can't see the top of his head. Whatever. He's now working his way towards the line for the UK. A lot riding on him, by the way, if the UK are going to overhaul New Zealand in this next session. And there you go. The UK with the top 3 positions so far from this qualifying session.
You can see the kind of corners where they're leaning on it more as the tyre temperature comes in. So through 1 and 2 there, William Chadwick, he's like, this is lap 3, it's time to push. And then through Cops Corner here, through Magnus Beckett's. And then I was seeing through Stowe as well. There's a little bit off camber there. Guys are picking up a lot of understeer. But now, hopefully, you've got a bit better balance after a couple of laps. The heat's sort of soaked through. Your tyres should be pretty good. And you'll just give it a little bit more, lean on it a bit more through here. And that's what Smith's doing.
Good morning, by the way, to Jack Ashton, who asks if it's just McLaren's or GT3 Open selection. It is a fixed selection this series. Just the McLarens allowed in this event here today. 2 races of half an hour. We've already had 1 from Bathurst, and New Zealand have taken the points lead with over 90 points. The UK about 30 points behind. South Africa about 60 behind. Australia about 70 behind, with a lot of work to do for this next race. Samuel Smith now into the final corners. That's what was required. Benjamin Roberts moves up to the top 5 as well, ahead of Smith. Although Baker moves to 3rd as well. Sharp up to 5th. It's all change here. Smith, though, is going to come across the line, and he will get back up to 4th, just to 3rd even, ahead of Ewan Baker. So that was well needed by Samuel Smith.
Yeah. Caruana, his third lap, he had to give up on. Marcus Watson to 10th for New Zealand. Looking at Jamie Koza, who we looked at plenty of at Bathurst. Benjamin Roberts, Josh Perween jumps up into the top 10 there as well. 17th at the moment. GT3 car, plenty of grip and downforce. Actually not worrying with the track limits in the final corner. And Koza improves to 13th.
Good improvement there for the Australians. That's given them 5 in the top 14. Not bad. Will Chadwick moves up to 4th place for the UK, who have got 6 in the top 8 at the moment. A great qualifying session as it stands. And Aidan Carter and Oliver Ettridge are 22nd, 23rd. You'd expect them to be at least in the points if the UK are going to overturn this margin, which is pretty large for New Zealand to try and hold on to. Lots of New Zealanders, though, in the midfield with scope to move forward, so it's far from over. Carter goes over line 59.9. That will not be much of an improvement, but it will be inside the top 20 just for Aidan Carter. Oliver Ettridge is not quite done yet either, but I don't think he's going to get to the line in time. So it's advantage UK, I think, after this qualifying session. 6 of the top 8 places taken up by them.
I'd like to file a protest, though. I think Zain Khan's points shouldn't count because on iRacing, he's selected the flag of Pakistan to represent.
We're taking it. That's fine. I'm sure he probably lives in the UK or something. I don't know. But don't know the story there. But anyway, he's even in any case, then we'd have 5 in the top 7, 5 in the top 8. So there you go. It's still a decent showing. Anyway, it's a front row taken up by the UK drivers, Molly Joff and Matt Caruana on the front row here from Silverstone, ahead of Samuel Smith from Australia and Will Chadwick alongside him. Ewan Baker, the best placed New Zealander, is 5th alongside Zain Khan in 6th. Adam Watson, Kieran Sharp then on row 4, and Benjamin Roberts and Josh Perrin, the first of the all-Australian rows on row 5. Anto Sabo and Marcus Watson, all Kiwi row 6. Stefan McCartane is next ahead of Jamie Kosa, with Reece Wakefield, the last driver within a second of pole. Scotty McQueen 16th, but Daniel Patterson and Stuart Ellis, who share row 9. 19th's gone to Aidan Carter ahead of Nicholas Roos, the best qualifying South African again, but all the way down in 20th place. Damon Mulqueen is ahead of Alex Sprague on row 11 with Oliver Ettridge and Dylan Jordan. Maybe a bit disappointed with their qualifying in row 12. Ian Zhu and Josh Kurtzy round off row 13 of Will Chen and Jack Saber. Cameron Dabastos and Callum Newton round out the top 30. Then 5 South Africans in a row: Michael Donaldson, Janneman Preuss, Tim van Rooyen, Roxanne Bartel and Stephen Koenig, with Thomas Alexander not setting a time. Neither did Ludwig Grunewald. So we've got Caruana joining. We've got a driver missing, though, who raced Bathurst. So 37 again as they all line up on the back straight, ready to go again. This is a huge race here. New Zealand coming in with about a 30-point advantage over the United Kingdom, who definitely hold the advantage after qualifying. But as we saw from Bathurst, this first lap itself is going to be absolutely massive.
Yeah, absolutely it will be. That tyre preparation is still difficult. We've got the short formation lap. The track temperatures aren't too bad, to be honest. While it's overcast, because we're in the UK, it's 33 degrees Celsius on the track, so it is actually warmer than Mount Panorama was, because it's winter in the land of wonder, the land down under.
And indeed, it's summer here. That's why it's barely warmer than Australia, even at this time of year. Anyway, the drivers now, and there's the synchronised weaving, by the way. Got to be careful not to clonk the car at the side of you, by the way. That's what I've always been worried about. But there they are. They all get spaced out very quickly. And my concern with this is that they all accordion together as the pace car pulls in quite a lot. It's what caused the problems at Bathurst. Hopefully it doesn't happen here through a tight chicane to end the lap here at Silverstone as well. But let's see as the weaving continues in the background. Goodness me, it's relentless. Molly Joff brings them through, though, with Matt Caruana alongside. They've got to coordinate a good start here for Team UK as they now make their way out of the final corner. And the final race of the Four-Nations Esports Cup in 2025 set to get underway. The accordion effect out the final corner as they all, oh dear, very nearly a car into the pit wall there as they all try and make the jump in towards turn 1. 3 wide in the midfield here. Can they all get through clearly? There's a car for the UK off the side of the circuit. An Australian going for a big slide as well, although no spins. A couple of drivers going to the access road, though, off on the outside. Through turn 3 they go. Down on the brakes, a spin in the midfield. A big spin for Stuart Ellis of Australia, who goes round to the back, and there's already a spin for a New Zealander getting into contact with the UK driver as well. Oh, more spins. It's happening out of turn 4 once again. It's not quite as bad as race 1, but there is a little bit of carnage on that one. 3 wide down towards Brooklands meantime. Ewan Baker trying to fly the flag for New Zealand, trying to get as many points as possible, and he's up to 4th place here. He does just about get that position, but it's a UK top 3 at the end of the first sector.
Yeah, so not quite the upfront carnage, but throughout the field, definitely a couple of damaged cars. Not as many as we had from lap 1 at Mount Panorama. Still drivers searching for as much tyre temperature as they can get their hands on to get up to speed quickly, to be able to make those positions while they're easy pickings. That's what Ewan Baker's done. Oh, and track limits.
Spin for Stefan McCartain, is it? Who's... oh, it's indeed, there's more contact. Somebody's come through and hit him here. Stefan McCartain with big damage, and the New Zealanders going to drop outside the top 20. The UK take the points lead here on lap number 1. They lead by 16 ahead of New Zealand. It's looking more and more like a 2-horse race, but you've got to remember, with the UK in occupying 6 of the top 8 places, the New Zealanders have a lot more scope to move up and catch that advantage that is currently held by the UK. At the end of lap 1, it couldn't have gone much better for the home nation here at Silverstone, but New Zealand are still very much in this game.
Yeah, there's more passing opportunities around here at Silverstone. I think the slipstreaming's about the same, but you've got 4 long straights, a lot of fast corners. If you can stay close, you can make some moves here. They're still weaving around, trying to get some tyre temperature. Matt Caruana takes the lead of the race, but it's still Team UK locking out the top 3. Great moves from Ewan Baker early on in this race as well.
And when you're amongst so many drivers effectively teaming up against you like Ewan Baker was, it was a great move down the inside of Brooklands to take the initiative there before he sort of let himself get into, sunk into a battle with loads of drivers on the same team. That can be very, very difficult to manage. So got himself down the inside and up into 4th place at least. But New Zealand now needs some of their other guys to come through now. Marcus Watson just on the back of this train, and here he is being attacked already. This is going to happen to Ewan Baker now. He's got no friends around him at the moment. His New Zealanders are a bit further back. Marcus Watson and Sabo need to try and make some overtakes to try and come and help him here, because he's under pressure, and he will be for the remainder of this race.
To this group from 3rd through to 11th, there's so many points on offer here. They're so close right now. You can't be taking your teammates out as well, though, so you've got to be strategic, you've got to be careful, and got to be able to trust as well. St. Khan, Header, Watson, Smith in the middle there.
The S's for the second time. Bit of aero wash, looks like, for Khan, just a little bit wide there of the apex, and Watson will gain a little bit. Of course, they're not going to fight each other, Khan and Watson, both of the UK. This is what's happened a little bit on lap number 1. Try and piece together a little bit of what's gone on. Oliver Ettridge, unfortunately, had a pretty difficult afternoon, despite the Team UK getting off to a good start. There's Stuart Ellis spinning in front of him, and he spins almost in sympathy, smacks into one of the New Zealanders, and then the carnage really starts through turn 3 and 4, where it all really began there, unfortunately for everybody. And we've got Alex Sprague, meanwhile, losing places in the live pictures. He gets passed by Aidan Carter. Look at these spins out of Aintree, by the way. Goodness me.
Seeing a couple of slowdown penalties coming through, so some drivers are extending those track limits in a couple of places. Lap down car staying out of the way, because Australians know how to do that. Smith moves up into 6th, Watson losing some spots.
Side by side through Aintree as I think that's another lap car trying to find its way out of the way at the moment. Adam Watson close to Samuel Smith. If he fancies a dive, and he does, late on the brakes, into the side of the Australian. He's going to push him out wide here. Oh, that was quite rude, really. But he's through. Adam Watson, 179 now, plays 158 for New Zealand. 21 points the advantage for the UK. That, I'll admit, I do want the UK to win, but that was fairly overly aggressive from Adam Watson, to be honest.
I think we should just shake hands right now and call it a draw, Ewan.
Oh dear. Anyway, Samuel Smith will have to try and come back again on Watson. Let's see how Stefan McCartain found himself on it. Was he hit there by his teammate, by the way? Well, that was definitely hit by one of the South Africans. Oh, he swiped one of his teammates there as well. Though not much he could have done about that one. Was the initial spin maybe caused by a bit of contact with a fellow New Zealander? That's Roxanne Bartel off into the fence nearly.
I think you've got the red sausage curb on the apex on the cold tyres, really. The curbs are always so much more dangerous when you're on cold tyres because the car's not sprung correctly when the tyres aren't inflated. You don't have as much grip and you're also riding lower, so you just take more of a hit from the curbs on cold tyres.
Bit of a tale of misery, unfortunately, for New Zealand in that load of replays. But while we've been looking at that in live pictures, Anto Sabo's got them another point by moving into the top 10 now, and he's another big driver for them. Look at Marcus Watson, by the way, as well, right on the back of Kieran Sharp. Marcus Watson is so key to the New Zealand race here at the moment. They were with a 30-point lead, at the start of this race. And if they're going to hold on to that, they need to use that advantage. And if they're going to hold on to that, they need Watson to make up some places, because not only will he gain 1 point individually for each place, of course, but he takes one away from the UK in most cases as well. So Marcus Watson holds the key here, I think, to New Zealand winning the Four-Nations Cup here.
You know, it's very appropriate to see Giltrap Group on the side of the New Zealand cars, because in so much of world motorsport, getting a start, getting seats, getting funding is about who your dad knows, what his bank balance is, do you have a famous surname. But there are so many amazing New Zealand drivers in world motorsport from a tiny population because of people like the Giltrap Group, where they just back in New Zealanders who show promise no matter what the background. And that's similar to what's happening here with the best New Zealanders picked no matter what. And they are representing New Zealand well, but not quite as well as the UK at the moment.
Yeah, smallest country in this field by population, but the sporting success they have is outrageous for population number. It's a fantastic sporting nation, as we all know.
They put money behind merit to see results, no matter who it is, and it shows so well. It's why every New Zealander you see in NASCAR, in World Endurance Championship, in any sporting anyway, they got Giltrap Group on the helmet because they are so well supported to go represent New Zealand out in the world.
Absolutely. Well, New Zealand currently just 20 points away from a maiden Four-Nations Esports Cup victory here. The last 3 years, 22, 23, 24, it's been Australia who have taken the crown and have retained it throughout a couple of editions as well. At the moment, they are going to be finishing last out the four, which would be an absolutely huge shock to see them finishing last. I'm not sure they quite are going to finish last. I think they might just nudge ahead of South Africa by the end of the day, but does look like the Esports Cup is going to go to somebody else. Whether it's going to be the UK or New Zealand, it's still unclear for the moment, as Oliver Etchard actually drops outside of the top 20. He loses places to two South Africans, so New Zealanders won't be gaining places out of that, but the UK do lose points out of that, and South Africa get a couple of more. They're on 49 now, up to third. This is what happened. He's already missing his front end, of course, and that was contact for Oliver Etchard, I think, with De Bastos, I think.
Yes.
Of South Africa.
Yeah, so, and then Kerwin and Will Chen went through.
Yeah. So a couple of Australians there who surely are not too far away from getting themselves into the top 20 after that contact there at turn number 4. This is where the battles and the passes need to start happening, though, in the next 20 minutes for New Zealand. Marcus Watson next in line. Ewan Baker doing all he can to stay in 4th place, but it doesn't look like he's going to get any more out of this race himself. Maybe his best bet is actually to back this whole field into Marcus Watson, maybe Anto Sabo if he can get there as well, and try and get them to make some overtakes here.
Well, everyone looks so even in this pack, don't they? First, second, third, through to Marcus Watson in 9th, who we're focusing on here, just in behind Kieran Sharp. So I'm not really seeing many great overtaking opportunities happen. I'm not seeing a whole lot of mistakes or slides or anything happening in this group. I think it's sort of 10th on back where you might see some more points pick up, like Australia moving ahead of South Africa right now on the points table, as Josh Perween, Ian Zhu, and Ben Roberts make some spots, fringes of the top 20.
These are important points. They're just as valuable, by the way, further down, as I mentioned earlier, in case you weren't with us. From 3rd place to 20th place, it's 1 point per position, so it's the same right the way down. which makes them valuable. Those valuable points down there. There is Josh Perrin. You wouldn't have got, you would have got long odds rather, betting that he got 1 point out of these two races at the start of the day. Didn't finish Bathurst. 20th at the moment as an individual as well. There's Jack Saber, just behind Ian Zhu. These are the battles, by the way, as to whether Australia or South Africa will finish in third and fourth here. They're currently tied on 48 with Australia.
Leaders swap.
Yeah,
Caruana drops in behind Joff again.
Not sure why. Not sure what the thinking is behind that, especially towards Cop's corner. Maybe Caruana is just declining in speed a little bit here, and Joff decided to get past, but it's a strange place to do it.
You can see that they've, as a top three, opened up a little bit more gap on Ewan Baker. He looks a tiny bit vulnerable in fourth there with Zane Khan and Adam Watson behind him. So I think that fourth through to ninth is kind of the next group to watch, because your top three are working like clockwork and seem to be sort of playing a team strategy here very well.
And looks like Kieran Sharp is playing that a little bit. Not sure if it's intentional or whether he just doesn't quite have the speed of Samuel Smith at the moment, but by opening a second gap in front before they've even started fighting there, Sharp and Watson, he's made Marcus Watson's day a lot more difficult, because he's got to make a pass and then do a bit of catching before he can make another pass here. So that's pretty smart for Sharp. If it is tactical, it may just be he can't quite hold with the rest of the group that's currently being led by Ewan Baker out front. Zane Khan is next with Adam Watson, then in 6th place. Those two are not going to fight each other from the United Kingdom, of course. Samuel Smith then in 7th place. Best placed Australian, once again, you have to say man of the match probably for Australia here today, although their points total way below what they would have expected.
Yeah, and Ewan Baker, actually born in Scotland, lives in New Zealand now. So like many smart people, he's got that grit and that determination to look at the British weather, British food, and at times the British economy, and decide, I can do better for myself. And he would be right. So he's representing New Zealand and doing it very, very well. But he needs more from his teammates.
He's got that, the only reason he's in fourth is because he's got that Scottish blood in him.
But he's got that New Zealand food in him.
Scottish food's all right. It's fine. Anyway, 4th place is where he's running at the moment. Again, he might have to back the others into Watson here, and Sabo, Daniel Patterson as well, if it comes down to that, because
Khan's got to slow down. 5th place.
He's going to just give it over to Watson. Does Smith get through as well? Smith is going to come through. So the UK do lose a point there. The gap down to 19 between the UK and New Zealand. Khan still serving it. This is a long slowdown. And Sharp will get down the inside. This could be a chance. No, he won't quite. So if he's served it all now, then that'll be all fine. But that's still not. Wow, it's taken a long time, isn't it? Now he's going to try and run one. Very difficult place to do it now. Sharp is going to get through on the front straight, and he's flashing the lights. Sharp, what are you doing here? Get out of the way or something, because Khan has really slowed him up there and backed him into Marcus Watson. Is this the opportunity that Marcus Watson has been waiting for? Not quite close enough, but he's got to strike at some point here with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, well, it shows Sharp getting a little hot under the collar, that Khan's capable of making a mistake. Australia takes some points away from the UK, which is actually great for New Zealand here, and it does move Australia now a couple of points clear, no longer tied with South Africa. It closes the gap a tiny bit between the UK and New Zealand, but it's still needing a big point swing of 18 more points for New Zealand to defend that first innings lead.
The gap 18 at the moment. The gap at the start, by the way, was 30 odd. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Patterson, by the way, got past Nicholas Roos. That's why it's down to 18 rather than 19, which is what it was a moment ago. But I'm sure for Samuel Smith, by the way, and you'll be able to give an insight into this, I'm sure he would rather help the Kiwis beat the UK than let the UK win. So he's going to want to get past Adam Watson if he possibly can.
Well, I'm about to call on Benjamin Roberts to let Alex Sprague and Damon Mulqueen through. I think that's probably the best opportunity, because that would give 3 more points for New Zealand. But I can't find a way to engineer 18 points here with UK locking out the top 3.
It's going to have to be some of those gains for New Zealand. Oh, and a big contact! Watson there he broke at normal point. I'm not sure what Sharp was doing, but early on the brakes maybe. In towards Stoke corner and slight contact there. He just gives the wheel a little bit of a wobble there, just Watson, just to check everything's okay. It probably will be, but this is what New Zealand need. They need to gain the positions on UK drivers, because as they're gaining points on Australians or whatever, or South Africans, you only gain 1 point on UK each time. If you overtake a UK driver, that's effectively a 2-point gain. For example, if Watson were to get past Sharp, he would be only 16 behind. New Zealand would be only 16 behind rather than 18, so it would be 2 points. So Samuel Smith gets down the inside of Watson there, I think it was. I'm not sure if it was indeed, into turn 3. He's going to be pushed wide here, but this is pressure on Watson now. Ewan Baker's going to be safe in 4th place. Not much more he can do now for New Zealand. He's going to bring that one home by the looks of things. But what about Watson? Big defence on Samuel Smith, who's looking to get every point he can for Australia, and indeed for New Zealand as well. Outside line he goes. He's a long way round here at Brooklands, but he's got the inside for the next pot. Watson slides, and he keeps the place for now.
Well, Watson showed him the outside there another time, so I thought maybe he'd keep his nose in it around the outside. Watson versus Smith in this battle, but Watson had the grippiest part of the racetrack. Smith didn't do it particularly well. Now Zane Khan's just in behind and not able to complete the move that he went for. Leaves Samuel Smith boxed in, and they're playing the game with him. They're trying to sandwich him.
That is close there, by the way, through Cobb's corner. Side by side they go. Watson got to be careful here. Round the outside through Maggots and Beckett's. He stays in front. He stays in 5th. And he is doing a good job of defending at the moment, but I'm not sure quite why he wants to sandwich Smith quite like this. They don't need to gain any points here, the UK. They just need to not lose them. And the best way to do that is by driving as fast as possible and keeping those guys behind as far away as possible. But he's still defending here. He comes back to the racing line in time for Stoke corner.
Now he's slow on the exit, sandwiching Smith in between Watson and Khan. Khan has a dive.
There he is, down the inside. Watson goes very deep to allow him to do it, side by side. And here in the background, look at this. Kieran Sharp's coming up very quickly as well. Smith could be freight trained if he's not careful. Side by side. Oh, he's missing his front bumper suddenly. Where's that come off? It's flapping around all over the place. Sharp's going to try and come through on the inside as well. Here comes Watson. It's all happening here. The UK gaining 2 more points. But Marcus Watson will get... Oh, no, he won't. Smith defends from Marcus Watson. So the UK drivers get through and the New Zealander does not. The gap 20. Watson knows the importance of this move. Down the inside he goes at turn 4 and he squeezes Smith off the road. He's up to 8th place.
Well, I'm speechless. There's still quite a bit to go in this race, but yeah, Watson missing his front bumper, just a little bit of contact against the other Watson. Yeah, it's a front bumper missing for Smith. Adam Watson, a little bit of contact there. Zane Khan with that big dive that he just managed to pull off. And Antal Sabo, it closes him back into the fight now.
Yeah, this fighting has got him right in the fight, and that's what New Zealand needed. But not if Watson and Khan are going to get away. Smith really held the key there for New Zealand, it seems to me, but Sabo is going to get past him now. Where did Smith lose his front bumper, by the way? I'm still trying to work that out through the fire chicane. I didn't see him hit anybody, so I'm not entirely sure where that actually came off.
Well, he got a little bit more curb than you'd normally take. He had the hit earlier in Cops. I think it's a cumulative couple of little hits and then a ride across one of the sausage curbs that's done it.
Entirely possible. It does seem to have done some damage to him, though. It's not just visual like some of the damage was in the last race, where it didn't really affect...
What can Marcus Watson and Antal Sabo do here? Because suddenly I think Watson's a bit closer.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for them to, as they're exchanging place amongst themselves actually further down, Mulcahy and Sprague, but I think it's going to be hard for them because, you know, it's entirely possible they can get past Kieran Sharp. Certainly Watson looks quicker than Kieran Sharp at the moment, but then when you lose the time making the overtake, how do you gain that back again on Khan and Watson, Adam Watson that is, who's further up front? That's where it gets difficult, I think, especially in 10 minutes as well. There's not long left.
also expanding in 2025 to a Four-Nations Esports Cup. Just taking a look at the best running South African. Nicholas Roos has kind of been the flag bearer for the Rainbow Nation in this event so far, and we're just taking a look where he is in 12th, having gained 8 spots in this race. So he's managed to avoid parts of the carnage, had great race pace, and it's been a great addition to have South Africa.
It certainly has. Their first appearance this year. And with Smith, by the way, dropping through the field and with damage, they might get back past Australia here at the end of the day, especially if Roos gets past Smith. It's entirely possible, although Benjamin Roberts now is on the back of Aidan Carter. Instead of letting Mulqueenan break through, like you were suggesting, David, he's going to go and try and get the place off Aidan Carter instead.
Yeah, I think I like that a little bit more. Here he is through Chapel, trying to set up that late apex. You full throttle by about here. The hanger straight's a bit longer than it feels, and it's one of the fastest parts on the racetrack. But I'll point out that peak speeds here, only 250 Ks. Remember, we were doing over 270 down the hill at Mount Panorama.
Into Stowe Corner as Roberts gets a better run here. Is he going to go for a dive the same way that Khan did down the inside a couple of moments ago? Not quite this time around. A little bit wider from Carter, but we'll get away with it. Roberts will trail Carter through the final corner. Oh, bouncing over the curb, and that'll be an off track. Running a little bit wide with 8 minutes to go, by the way. There might be 5 laps left yet with Molly Joff a long way. There will be 5 laps to go with Molly Joff further out front. So another few laps yet for the United Kingdom to seal this, but 19 points the current advantage. They do still have Marcus Watson close by, though, and that's what is giving New Zealand hope at the moment, if there is any to take from this. Because Roberts taking a point away from Carter would help as well, but time is definitely running out here now with 7 minutes to go.
Speaking of time running out, I'm seeing that there's a black flag out for Josh Kurtzer from South Africa. I believe he had a slowdown penalty that he didn't give up in time. Now, you saw how much time Zane Khan lost when he cut the track or ran too wide somewhere. It cost him a couple of positions at the time, and that's why you need to give that quickly, because if you don't, eventually it does become just an out-and-out black flag. Although drive-through is less costly here at Silverstone than some other tracks because of the unique pit entry situation.
Yeah. Well, Watson, meantime, still applies that pressure.
Chadwick with a slowdown in third.
Yeah, is Baker close enough? We know that the gap is, the slowdown is heavy, but is it 4 seconds? That's where Ewan Baker is next for third position here. Gap down to 3. He will still be serving it at the moment, Chadwick, but I'm not sure he's quite going to lose enough time to lose out in that position. The problem's going to be whether he succumbs to the pressure here for Ewan Baker, and whether Baker can get up to third as a result. But these are the kind of things you've got to avoid as a UK driver now. Can't afford any mistakes. 19 points can go away very quickly.
Yeah, this looks like Perween making a move ahead of Sprague, so it gives Australia points, but it takes another one away from New Zealand right now. Ettridge from the UK's got a slowdown. He's out of the points, so that won't concern us in this final couple of minutes, I don't think. But then Perween's got a couple more he can look at here to take some spots away from.
Yeah, he's on the back of Dem Mulqueen now as well. So
Marcus Watson's so close.
More points again. Yeah, Marcus Watson is again really close out of turn 4, but he's just not been able to get past so far in this race. It's been super difficult. He's been trying all race effectively. He's been stuck behind Kieran Sharp for most of the day, but can't quite find his way past. Looks on the way towards Brooklands. Again, no way through. Anton Sabo, by the way, is nowhere near close enough to just follow through as well as Khan loses. Khan and Watson exchange places, and further down, Roberts got past Carter as well, so get back to 19 again.
Or not, or maybe they're side by side here, heading onto the old pit straight. Is there side draft? Do you want to be on the inside? Do you want to be on the outside? Outside for Roberts.
Patterson might be about to get a place from Smith as well, by the way, but no place this time for Benjamin Roberts. He's going to try and get the run out of Copse instead, but Aidan Carter does a good job in defending this time around. We'll see how much Smith can actually defend here, because could well just as well let Patterson through, but also Carter and Roberts as well before the end of this race. There's still 3 laps to go when they get to the line. Not quite as good of a run for Roberts this time, as Aidan Carter keeps that 13th position.
Yeah, needed a little bit more, but it's so tough to, in any car, to follow that closely through the change of direction at Maggots and Beckett's, and you're seeing it just can't quite follow closely through the high-speed corners. The straights are pretty quick, but just not quite long enough.
To the final chicane. It has been a much more difficult race to overtake on than I was expecting, I've got to say. Much more overtaking at Bathurst in the first race of the day compared to Silverstone here second time round. Especially the guys at the front, so evenly matched throughout. I suppose has been one of the issues. That wasn't quite the case at Bathurst when we had so much carnage to begin the race with. But nevertheless,
I think the fixed setup's pretty safe. That's the thing, is the car's not particularly oversteery or twitchy. It's a bit pushy. Oh, Samuel Smith's losing more. Oh dear.
Well, I think it's going to
South Africa go back ahead.
Yeah. So, how many points will that give New Zealand? Another couple. Let's see how it happened. Oh dear, he was hit there as well by Patterson, I want to say. Daniel Patterson from New Zealand. He's just in front of Nicholas Roos. You can see him here, but that puts the gap back to 17, I should say. So it is closing. 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, and one of Australia's best point scorers drops down. South Africa moves back into third. This looks like Daniel Patterson leading Nicholas Roos. The best South Africans now up into 11th. Aidan Carter behind them in 12th. Got Benjamin Roberts still crawling all over him, but struggling to make the move that he would like. Now Benjamin Roberts is the best placed Australian.
In 13th place indeed.
What if we had a bit of rain?
So we go back to Owen, who might be about to take a place off of Damon Mulqueen here of New Zealand. Mulqueen has to keep this position. In fact, he probably has to back him into Sprague really to try and get New Zealand another point if they possibly can. They're going to need everything they can possibly get at the moment. Next in line after that, by the way, is a lapped car from New Zealand. That will be I don't know actually. See in the background anyway. Perrin looking left and right here to try and get past Mulqueen. Can he get down the inside? No. He'll have to be outside line. He can't quite make the move. As Nicholas Roos, by the way, makes a move for South Africa. He's definitely flown the flag proudly for them, and he's up to the top 10 now. Side by side with Patterson, who gets past Carter.
Patterson's dropping back here. He's got a black flag for New Zealand as well, so that's going to be super, super costly. He'll have to serve a drive-through penalty. And I don't think he's taken the white flag yet, so he can without taking an even bigger penalty. But Patterson's probably had a slowdown that he didn't give up in time, or he cut too much of the course somewhere. And so Patterson from New Zealand will drop out of this fight. He'll drop behind Perween, who's now ahead of Mulqueen.
Yeah, Perween gets past into turn 3 for 14th position. But it's now going to be 13th as Patterson drops down the order. 22 points now the gap between the United Kingdom and New Zealand. It looks like it's going to be the year for the UK as the 3-time holders, Australia, are down in 4th position. A big, big surprise there to have the holders all the way down the field. So coming to Copse corner now. Benjamin Roberts, the best placed of those Australians, trying to salvage a last little bit of pride here by overtaking Aidan Carter towards the last moments of this race.
Phenomenal drive from Nicholas Roos, now up into the top 10. 10 spots gained from 20th on the grid. The only driver matching that is his countryman Ludwig Grunwald, who had no qualifying, started from 37th, and by virtue of how many other cars have crashed, is now up into 27th, not into a points scoring position. Jacques Ava is back into a point scoring position for South Africa as well, and that's another way that they have moved back up ahead of Australia. There's Patterson going to serve his drive-through penalty. Let's see how much that costs him actually.
Yeah, it's not too much around here, is it? Silverstone, the inside of the circuit, the pit lane, so Patterson is not going to lose as much as you otherwise might, but he will drop down the field a little bit here towards the end of this race. And he will let Perwin up to 13th place, second best placed Australian, moving to 13th. And he actually comes to a stop, does Patterson. I thought he'd just be doing a drive-through. He's come to a stop.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought it would have been a drive-through, but maybe he was speeding on pit lane on the entry for it or something as well. So even more costly for New Zealand. Australia get a couple of spots back, but it moves New Zealand further away from the UK, not enough to put Australia up into third. And part of that's because of this great effort that Nicholas Roos is putting on here, dicing with Aiden Carter.
I'm not sure if Carter knows the point situation, but I wouldn't be doing that if I did. Down the inside for Roberts as well, as he looks for 11th place. Carter maybe believes this is for the last crucial points at the moment, but just got to keep it clean to the end of the day now, as Nicholas Roos looks to hold on to a top 10 for South Africa. It'd be a great result for them and for him personally if he can get it. Oh, free wide nearly onto towards Cops corner. Roberts going to try and do the switch back. He's down the inside of Aiden Carter, and he might well get himself through here. Roos is going to stay on the left-hand side here, and he's going to get boxed in, is Aiden Carter. He's going to lose that 11th place, is he? Side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. A good battle between these two, but Roberts gets the position. A great battle to finish the race with. To 11th, but further out front, Marley Joff is going to come over the line here for Team UK, and it is going to be a big turnaround for Team UK as well, as Joff wins for the second time today in the Four-Nations Esports Cup 2025, as Caruana comes over the line and Chadwick comes over the line in the podium places as well. The UK occupies 6 of the top 7 places in race number 2 to overturn their deficit from the first race of the day, and for the very first time the United Kingdom will win the Four-Nations Esports Cup in 2025.
Roberts with a bad ride over the curb there, and he's going to lose out, unfortunately, and Aiden Carter gets himself back up into 11th. That sort of top 7 drivers from the UK have absolutely done the business here at Silverstone. Ewan, gee, I don't think Silverstone's going to be that much of an advantage for the UK O'Leary.
I don't think it is. But everyone drives Silverstone. Well, maybe I'm saying that because I'm from the UK. But yeah, it's certainly turned out to be the best of the races for the United Kingdom today. That is for sure. As the final drivers inside the points come over the line, and the battle's a bit further down. Will just sort themselves out. I think this is Tjeerd van Bruin versus Thomas Alexander for 28th position in the field. Van Bruin a bit wide there. Again, points not riding on this. The points situation is locked in there at the top right of your screen. The United Kingdom will take it by with 182 points. New Zealand 27 behind, which is just less than their advantage over the UK going into the second race of the day. South Africa finished third on debut. A great result for them as they beat Australia 136 points behind. The holders, 3-time holders, finishing last here this time round. That is a big, big shock.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess it all starts at the first leg, doesn't it? The chaos, the carnage that we saw. It's difficult to fight back from that. The United Kingdom, though, with a massive, massive points haul here to overtake New Zealand on the second leg.
This victory for Marley Joff for the second time here tonight, or today rather, depending on where you're watching. 1.3 seconds ahead of Matt Caruana, who didn't quite seem to have at the speed of Joff here today. Will Chadwick rounds off the podium. Ewan Baker finishes the best of the Kiwis in 4th place, and Zane Khan, who got ahead of Adam Watson fairly towards the end. Kieran Sharp held off Marcus Watson throughout that entire race. Santos Sabo not too far away either, with Nicholas Roos finishing 10th place, the best of the South Africans. Aiden Carter was next to the best of the Australians. Benjamin Roberts ahead of Just Perwin, with Damon Mulqueen and Alex Sprague rounding out the top 15. Scotty McQueen 16th ahead of Ian Zhu, Jacques Xavier, Reece Wakefield and Cameron de Bastos. 21st and first outside the points was Will Chen with Janeman Preuss, the last driver inside a minute of the race win. Stuart Ellis finished 23rd ahead of Oliver Ettridge, with Callum Newton running out the top 25. Stephen Koenig, Ludwig Groeneveld, Thomas Alexander, Tjeerd van Bruin and Josh Kurtze rounding out the top 30. Also on the lead lap, Stephen McCarthy and Daniel Patterson, who pitted late on, of course. Jamie Kurzer, Michael Dodson and Roxanne Bartle finished 1 lap down, with Samuel Smith 2 laps down with his damage. Dylan Jordan didn't get through very much of that race for New Zealand, unfortunately for him, and dropped to the back. Hopefully we're going to be able to chat to some of the drivers on the podium, and maybe some more drivers from the UK as well. But just as I've been saying that, I think Molly Joff has got himself into the waiting room, so we can bring him in now and have a bit of a chat. Molly, welcome in. Congratulations on 2 race wins here this morning, and indeed the overall for Team UK. Tell us first of all about the race that's just happened here at Silverstone. You and Matt Caruana were at the front to begin with and exchanged places along the way, but you were a comfortable winner in the end. How would you assess how that second race went?
Yeah, it went well. Bit scary at the start. The McLaren has very little traction on lap 1, especially in the hot attempts. So I nearly lost it coming out of, I think, turn 3. But yeah, I held on to him, managed to get the move done, and then it was just a case of controlling it at the front. More importantly, well done to the UK. I saw the results and I knew it would be close, but well done everyone. Really, really good job.
And yeah, as you say, what's obviously UK taking the win this time round? What is that like though, as a leader there, when you know that you can't actually do any more? And I guess you might not really have known the situation either on the road at the time. So what's that like when you're leading a race and you're not quite sure what's going on?
Well, I knew a little bit because I tuned in to the stream to see what the point situation was. So I knew that with me, Matt and Will at the front, it would be close. But to be honest, I was more focused on my race and trying to win it. And because as you said, there's nothing you can control about the point situation. So got to do what you can do.
Absolutely. Well, Molly, congratulations on a couple of race wins here this morning. And thanks for coming to chat to us at the end.
Thank you. Shout out to Effect, top lads. And yeah, well done everyone from the UK.
Thanks very much. Molly Joff there, 2-time race winner here tonight, or today, depending on where you're watching. Before we go through any of the other podium drivers from Silverstone, chat to some of the drivers from other nations. Ewan Baker finished in 4th place in that second race of the day for Silverstone. Of course, one of our New Zealand drivers who can now join us as well. Ewan, welcome in. Good to have you with us. And congratulations on a good personal performance for you here tonight at Silverstone and Bathurst. Not quite enough for New Zealand this year, but tell us how you're feeling at the end of that second race of the day. Hello, Ewan. Can you hear us? Maybe not. Maybe can't hear us, but anyway, we'll have to try again later, I guess, with Ewan Baker. Just try someone else from New Zealand. Who else is lurking around from New Zealand? Let's try Damon Mulqueen instead. Welcome in, Damon. Good to have you with us. Can you hear us?
Yeah, got you loud and clear. You got me. Nice.
Yes, we have as well. Well, commiserations, of course, to New Zealand, who finished up second this year in the Four-Nations Esports Cup. But tell us a little bit about your 2 races and how you got on. We noticed, obviously, you finished 14th place in its second race here today. Also, the first race with its carnage as well. How was it for you tonight?
Overall, it was a pretty fun experience. I can't lie about that. Unfortunately, Bathurst is something I don't want to talk about. But, we drove the car back round to the pits. It was horrific. But we got it back to the pits, popped up the fast repair and just circled around to try and gain some positions or points of whatever may happen, because Bathurst can always be a messy race. But no, it was a lot of fun and had a lot of fun here tonight.
Tell us what a disadvantage, if it is at all. We often, myself and David, often talk amongst ourselves about whether having a home track is an advantage to the UK for Silverstone or Australia for Bathurst. Are you Kiwis missing that sort of home track that hopefully we're going to have by next year?
I mean, it would be cool if the iRacing service had a track for each of the countries participating. I reckon that would be amazing. It stops everyone going on about, oh, you race on this, that, and whatnot. So if we ever get, say, Pukekohe, we know has been scanned, I'm pretty sure. Say if we got somewhere else from South Africa and we all got to race, 30-minute races there. Okay, it makes a little bit of a long night, or we alternate some of the tracks, but, it would be really awesome.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you for your performance tonight, nevertheless, and commiserations to New Zealand, of course. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us at the end of the night.
Not a problem. Thank you very much. Well done, UK and everyone.
Thanks very much. Damon Mulqueen, the New Zealand driver, chatting to us at the end of the Silverstone race here tonight. Let's go to a South African who can join us. Let's bring in. Let's do Jack Saver first of all. Actually, we saw a bit more of him here tonight in this race. Jack, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations to South Africa for finishing third in the first time round in this competition. Tell us about your experience in today's races. How you got on?
How's it, man? No, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having us. I think it was very good racing. I think the first race went a little bit better than we expected. I think with the luck that we had in the start to get through there, brought us quite good in the first race. And the second one was just fun. I think we all just enjoyed it. Very much fun to race with all you other guys.
18th place for you in race number 2, just ahead of Reece Wakefield towards the end. You two were running quite close together towards the end of the race. What about for yourself personally? How did you get on in the 2 races compared to what you were expecting maybe from today?
Better than I expected, definitely. The second race, I was trying to catch the guy ahead. Got the slip, got out of the slip, got in the slip, and then the guy behind started to catch me, and everything started to be more defending than catching. So just to keep the P18 place.
Well, congratulations on that, Jax, and thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us at the end of the day.
All right, thanks, guys. Enjoy. Thanks, man.
Thanks very much. That is Jack Saver, who finished in 18th place for that second race. South African representative to begin with here. We'll chat to a couple more in the next few moments, but let's just run through another couple of the top names who finished up towards the front of race 2 here today. Matt finished in second place here at Silverstone for the UK. Matt, welcome in. Good to have you with us. First of all, tell us about why you were not at the Bathurst race to begin with tonight.
Well, I'm not a very good morning person, so I won't lie to you. I did sleep in a little bit, but it's okay. Woke up, got to the second one, but yeah.
Didn't matter in the end, as it turned out. But yeah, it just thought that was I don't know, slightly amusing. It amused me this morning anyway. Tell us how race 2 went, because you were running up the front with Marley Joffa, and then he just at one stage seemed to drive past you. I thought it was an exchange of places, but in the end he drove away from you. What was going on there at the front?
Yeah, to be honest, he went for the move, and I thought no point fighting. Obviously, both UK good points. I did want to stay with him, maybe have a little fight at the end, just for fun, but. Yeah, he just drove away from me, to be honest. He had really good pace, and I couldn't keep up with him. So yeah, fair play to him, and well done to the rest of the UK guys.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us, Matt, and congratulations on finishing second here at Silverstone today.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks very much, Matt Caruana, second place at Silverstone for the UK. Will Chadwick finished in third, also for the UK, and can join us as well. Welcome in, Will. Good to have you with us. Third place from race number 2, and a UK victory overall as well. How are you feeling at the end of that?
I was hoping I'd have to. I had the live points up. I was hoping I had to drop back and push the New Zealand car into the other UK cars. I was looking for a bit of action, but yeah, no, not too bad. My first time, I think, racing from another rig, actually in a kind of a competition. So yeah, a good bit of fun, and I'm stood up because my legs are hurting me because I don't like this position.
You can say you stood up for some reason, but there you are. How was the first race as well, by the way? I saw you get involved in a couple of incidents to begin with, as did most people. What was your view of that lap 1 crash?
Well, just a really bad quali lap, and it puts you in that sort of position, right, mid-pack. So certainly a bad lap for what I could do, or definitely what I could do at home. But yeah, I mean, I watched it back. The first incident, I got turned, obviously, and it caused a big pile-up. I don't think it was anything intentional, obviously, but it's, just causes these big crashes. Then the second incident, I just got caught out by a car braking quite early for the kink down. So yeah, I tried to avoid it, but yeah, couldn't brake enough.
Well, thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us at the end of the day. Will, congratulations on a podium place, nevertheless, in race 2.
Thanks, Ian.
Cheers. Will Chadwick, the third place finishing driver from Silverstone here for the UK. Let's go through the rest of the New Zealand drivers who we've got waiting for us, starting with Daniel Patterson. I think he's actually the only one still waiting for us at the moment, actually. Daniel, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Unfortunate finish to race number 2 for you here tonight. Tell us what happened on the final laps towards the finish there.
Just got a few of the track limits and just trying to chase some people down, using them up, and then there was a little contact, and I think that stuffed all the track limits up because I was saving them for the end a bit. But apart from that, it was good. Bathurst was chaos. I drove straight through the middle, but no, it was a lot of fun and some nice racing in the final race.
Absolutely. And what's it like being in that last race when you're in a point situation like that? Obviously, New Zealand and the United Kingdom were neck and neck at many stages actually during that second race of the day. How much are you aware of that when you're actually out there when you're driving?
Yeah, well, that's why I used the track limits, because I was trying to close in on as many positions as I could, overtake as many as I could, and then just hopefully hold it. But then, yeah, like I said, the contact made a bit of a mess. But no, it was nice, 10th, and yeah, it's good fun.
Absolutely. Good to have you out there, of course. Daniel, thanks for chatting to us at the end, and congratulations again on your drive tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Daniel Patterson there from New Zealand. Unfortunately, finishing down the order here at Silverstone after that late trouble. Got a few more South Africans to chat to before we sign off here today. So let's just go through them before we finish. Stephen Koenig's been waiting there a while. I'll drag him in now. Stephen, welcome in. Good to have you with us. And, of course, good to have South Africa out there for the first time in the Four-Nations Esports Cup. How did you find it tonight?
It was absolutely amazing. Competition between the countries have always been fast and fierce out of the ASNs, and now we get to battle it out within our own ASNs. I've got to say, it was a lot of fun. Quite proud of Team South Africa putting up the fight. Congratulations has to go to the UK on a phenomenal effort, and also well done to the Aussies for going and fighting out for years in a row. They took the win and gave us a battle right down to the wire.
Absolutely, a third place finish, sorry, for South Africa. It must be, I don't know what you were expecting as a collective before this, but it must be very, very pleasing to beat the holders in your first appearance in the competition.
Well, as a collective, we strive to be at the top. It was one of these, okay, whatever happens, just see it through to the end. There was a good couple of us all together just discussing and trying to work out where we are, and a big thank you to a couple of our guys helping on the background that we were keeping an eye on all that was going on. And the aim from Motorsport South Africa was have fun, show off some great driving, just stick around and see what happens. And to walk away with a bronze, I got to say, it's a very proud moment for all of us South Africans, and we're looking forward to coming back the next time and going for the silver.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us at the end today, Stephen, and congrats again to you guys for a third place finish.
Thank you very much. Well done, Motorsport UK. Well done, RaceSpot, and thank you to all in the virtual grandstands. We'll see you in the next South African race.
Thanks very much. Stephen Koenig there chatting to us at the end of the day in the Four-Nations Esports Cup. A couple of people jumping around in the waiting room. I'll bring in Ludwig Grunewald into the chat in the meantime. Ludwig, welcome in. Good to have you with us as well. 27th place finish for you in the second race of the day. Tell us how your afternoon went. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. This question scared him off. Anyway, there we go. He's
too much hard-hitting journalism from you and O'Leary. They can't take it.
It's hardly my best question ever. Anyway, he's gone. We'll try somebody else in the meantime. Michael Donaldson is waiting there at the moment. We'll see if we get Ludwig back later. Michael, welcome in. Good to have you with us as well. 34th place for you finish in the second race of the day. Of course, race at Bathurst as well earlier. I can't remember where you finished, to be honest, to the first race. But tell us how your afternoon was.
Honestly, it was things didn't quite go as expected, but safe to say I really enjoyed it though. Yeah, it was P18 at Bathurst. Starting from dead last, I was pretty happy with that result. And
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, sorry, I interrupted you. You reminded me actually of that graphic we got on our broadcast actually not long into the race that showed you obviously massive most places gained from Bathurst of anybody. Tell us what that first lap was like at Bathurst as you sort of saw everything unfolding in front of you.
Well, the way things went out of my perspective was I come around turn 1 and I don't see much of a track in front of me. I see cars everywhere, and thankfully one of the guys who I was in chat with was saying it's only open on the left. Get on the grass and go to the left. So I climbed onto the grass, managed to avoid a few cars trying to do the same thing. And once I got past all the chaos, it was just moving forward from that point, yeah.
Well, congratulations on getting through it, because that was a big incident at the start of race number 1. Big thanks for you to chat to us at the end of the day, of course, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one, of course.
No, by all means. I cannot wait for the next one. Yeah, thank you so much for organising the event, and a big thanks to Motorsport UK and Motorsport South Africa for bringing South Africa into this. It was a truly fun experience.
Thanks very much. Michael Johnson there, chatting to us at the end of today, the Four-Nations Esports Cup for South Africa, who finished third in their first appearance. So just quickly chat to a couple of the other South African drivers before we sign off here today. Cameron de Bastos as well from South Africa. Cameron, welcome in, and congratulations to South Africa for finishing in the top 3 in your first appearance in the Four-Nations Esports Cup. How did you find it here today?
Yeah, it's great. It's that to get third is actually just the top of the cake, cherry on top, pretty much. Because I had a good fight there with one Australian driver until the very, very end. So it was close. Silverstone didn't treat me way too kindly. Bathurst seemed to be the better one for me, but yeah, otherwise, it's been fun. Been doing some of these international races, and really shows the quality of racing that's out there, and it's great to have South Africa third above the reigning we're defending champions Australia. That's now dead last.
Yeah, well, I can't say I'm too disappointed about that as someone from the UK. I'm not going to argue with you about that. Anyway,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Thanks for chatting to us at the end, Cameron, and hopefully again we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean to get back, and yeah, thanks again to Motorsport South Africa and Motorsport UK and all the other ASNs for organising this.
Thanks very much, Cameron de Bastos, at the end of the Four-Nations Esports Cup for South Africa, chatting to us. Hopefully now we can get Ludwig Groenewald as well, just for a quick word before the end. Ludwig, do you have us now? Can we hear you? Doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like we've got him. So we'll have to abandon that one at the end, unfortunately. But anyway, Ludwig Groenewald, another one of our South African drivers here today. Unfortunately, not able to grab him at the end, which is a shame. But that will just about do it from us here in the Four-Nations Esports Cup here for 2025. There are your final standings. The United Kingdom taking their first crown with 27 points of an advantage over New Zealand. South Africa, the surprise package, in third place, finishing ahead of Australia, who finishing surprisingly in fourth place after winning it for the first 3 years in a row. David, how are you feeling at the end of that one as an Australian? Unfortunately, a big surprise, I've got to say, taking my bias away. That is a big surprise to see Australia fourth.
Yeah, I'm going to go cry on Bondi Beach. So I'm taking it tough, but, it'll be a long year until the next one. But, I mean, the format is amazing. It gives everyone, a reason to buy in. It gives meaning to every battle for position. We're looking at stuff, 18th versus 19th going, well, there's a point swing there if they can get ahead. So I think for everyone who takes part, it's great because every contribution matters, and watching as a fan and of this style of competition, you don't have to be a massive iRacing fan or a fan of a particular track or driver. You can cheer for whichever country pulls on your heart. So in that way, it's a unique event, and it's so awesome.
It absolutely is. Yeah, you can cry on Bondi Beach. I'll go and celebrate the Skegness. That'll be the level, I think. Of course, one other thing just to clean up before we go. The Next Level Racing, of course, sponsorship for this round. A big thanks to Next Level Racing for supporting this year's Four-Nations Esports Cup. A reminder, of course, that the top driver from all of the nations, from each Four Nation, has won a Next Level Racing HF8 Haptic Pad Pro. So a big thanks to Next Level Racing for their support here for this great event, and a congratulations to the 4 drivers from each of those nations who will have won that prize. Big thanks, of course, to you for listening and watching here today, or tonight, or indeed this morning, depending on where you've been watching in the world. This has been the Four-Nations Esports Cup in 2025 as the United Kingdom take their first crown away from 3-time holders Australia. We very much look forward to 2026, coming back to see these 4 nations do battle once again. It's a great event, and we look forward to it next year, as always. I've been Neil O'Leary, alongside David Haynes, with Hugo Louise behind the cameras of this RaceSpotTV broadcast. Until we see you in 2026 for the next Four Nations Esports Cup, it's goodbye for now.